Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to edition
blah 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 blah
blah blah blah 40 something. Is it 40 something?
It's 40 something.
Of The Mayor and I, with me, Lindsay Khan, and Nick Buckley, MBE, where we discuss certain things that have happened during the week. And today's the 24th of September, 2024. And Nick Buckley, welcome to
Thank you.
The Mayor and I.
Straight off my holiday, straight here, straight in the chair.
It's just that your commitment to
Dedication.
the cause is unbelievable. And you've been in Northumberland, which looks fantastic, the pictures you've been showing.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
right. You recommend to our viewers?
Yeah, we stayed in a place called Sea Houses. Bamberg Castle was fantastic, and then we went to Holy Island.
Which looks fantastic.
Yeah, which is also known as Lindisfarne.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah,
So, so fantastic, beautiful countryside.
Fabulous. And you were walking down empty beaches,
Empty beaches in
Contemplating.
the dunes. Yeah,
reflecting on life and the things we talk about.
yeah, and then wondering why I didn't drive it to the island because it was quite far. My back was hurting.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing us back to earth. And in terms of obviously the spectacular things that have happened in the past week, Anthony Joshua got beaten by Dubois.
I was so happy.
What?
Oh, he's a racist. He's an anti-white racist.
God.
He is. Have you not seen a video of him?
No.
During the BLM marches, riots in London with a mic, shouting to the crowd, "Don't be buying anything in their shops.
Really?
Don't give them your money." Did they have the right?
What, white-owned shops, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's a racist.
Oh, I've gone right off him now.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really had thought he was a great boxer,
Yeah.
but he was kind of really shown to be not a great boxer at all in that one. He was knocked down in every round, I think.
Was
basically,
he?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was I think it only went 5 rounds. He got knocked down in the 5th round by Dubois, who's also an English guy anyway, so that's fine.
Right. Is he white or black?
No, he's black. He's black.
I'd like to have been beaten.
No, but that's a very interesting point. I wasn't even going to discuss the boxing today, but what's very interesting about that, all the racists and the race grifters saying, this black men or whatever, the top boxers in the world now, half are white and half are black.
Yeah.
So the two of the top guys are obviously Tyson Fury. There's Usyk, I can never pronounce his name. But then you've got Dubois, and there's an American black boxer as well. Maybe the viewers can help me. So it's interesting, the top boxers in the world, it's a 50-50 split between white and black, whereas for a long...
And Joshua's mixed race, he's half white.
And Joshua's mixed race
he
as
lives
well.
with his mum, who's white.
Yeah, and it kind of blows apart all this kind of stereotyping of black men being better boxers or whatever it might be. It's actually, it's on merit. I mean, I think the interesting thing about boxing, UFC, martial arts, it tends to be purely based on merit. There's no kind of DEI or anything like that going on in there, apart from the Olympics where you get men punching women. So I think that it is a very pure sport in that way. I think so. So that was something that happened. Man United drew with Crystal Palace, which was okay after their 7-0 thrashing of Barnsley. And big news: Man City nearly got beaten at the Emirates, but didn't quite. Sorry, not the Emirates. It's the Etihad, isn't it? I always get confused.
The home ground's Etihad.
Yeah, Etihad. Sorry, the Etihad nearly got beaten by Arsenal, but then John Stones scored in the very last minute.
So it was a draw.
It was a draw.
Right.
But that's about it really on the big news. Just before I came here, I was in a meeting and something flashed up on my phone, and it's a Labour Party conference this weekend.
Last couple of days, yeah.
And Keir Starmer was giving his maiden speech there, and what was he's such a buffoon, isn't he? So he was talking about Gaza and Israel, and it's kind of academic what he was saying, because in the middle of this speech, this very important point he was trying to make, obviously with his views, he said the Hamas must return the sausages.
Yes.
And
those poor sausages. Those poor sausages.
So my ears pricked up because I thought, have they got our sausages? What's going? And
come over here to take our jobs, our women to take our sausages.
So he meant to say return the hostages,
Yeah.
but he can't even get that right. He can't even get return the hostages correct. He said return the sausages.
Yeah.
So of course there's memes all over Twitter. So what should have been a very important speech. He's such a buffoon, this guy. He can't even get that right. So this incredibly important speech, one of the most, and it was instantly on my phone from the Telegraph, I think. Memes all over the place.
It's even worse than that.
Go on.
What are sausages made out of?
Pork.
So he's referring to Jewish victims who've been kidnapped by radical Islamists.
Sausage.
And he's calling them pork sausages. He's upsetting everyone.
Return the sausages. So there's various memes now, like bring them home with pictures of sausages and things like that. So he just killed me laughing.
He's an idiot.
So we'll talk about him later. I wanted to kick off today with something that I'm pretty sure you've seen, but you'll have seen despite it not being on the mainstream media as well. And this is really explosive, dynamite news, I think, which is to do with the economy and immigration, basically. So the OBR, which is the Office of Budget Responsibility, an august, important organisation funded by the government, I think, and I don't know if it's part of the government. It might
It's
be.
part of the government.
Yeah. So they've released data now showing that of the 3.6 million visas that have been issued in the last few years, only 12% have gone to skilled workers. 3/5 of immigrant workers are low-wage workers, and this is what's important, they're a net drain on the British taxpayer. So this is quite staggering. So these unskilled immigrant workers, these are legal immigrants, by the way, by the time they reach the age of 81, they will have cost the British taxpayer each, hold on to your hat, £465,000 each.
£500,000.
£500,000. This is point, yeah. £500,000 per immigrant to the age of 81. So basically they are a net drain on the British taxpayer. And it kind of gets worse than this. So they're always talking, aren't they, the left and the elites, about all these fantastic immigrants coming over here, they're bringing skills and doctors and all that jazz. Of all these visas that have been issued, only 0.6%, not 6%, Nick, 0.6% are scientists or engineers. Only 0.8%, so less than 1%, are doctors, basically. And what that means is that only 1 in 20 of immigrants that have come over here recently are contributors to the British taxpayer. So only 1 in 20 people of the immigrants, this population, are actually contributing to the British taxpayer.
Yeah.
And basically, for every pound that the actual immigrants that generate money, tax generate, the unskilled immigrants are taking £1.60. So we are basically, immigration is costing us an absolute belief. So this blows apart, and this is why this is incredible news, because this blows apart this bollocks that they've been telling us for years, that we need the immigrants to contribute to the economy, blah, 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 they generate tax. They don't. They don't at all. And it's been shown by a government body that this is the case, basically.
And do you know how that happens?
No.
Because we're not giving them that money back. It's, you're a low-skilled worker, you come here, you can't afford your rent, so you get a housing benefit. You can't afford to pay council tax, so we fund your council tax. You've not got enough to live on, so you get universal credit. You've got children as well, so you get money for the children. It's all the benefits we've got.
Yeah. They're
entitled to and claim them all, hence why they come here on a low-skilled job, and we think, why are you coming here to wash dishes in wherever, some cafe? Well, yeah, this job's crap, but then I get 15 grand a year off the government in benefits because my job's crap.
Yeah. So doesn't it all end here then, Nick? With that information, now we know. Now we know this. With this information, it's got to end now, hasn't it?
It would.
We can stop the podcast.
Yes.
Because
we've achieved the truth.
The truth is out there, folks. It's out there now. It hasn't been in any of the mainstream media, by the way. It's not been on the news or whatever. So obviously the mainstream media, the stupid elites in the mainstream media, are suppressing this as best they can. But it's out there now. We know now that immigration is draining money from this country. But so immigration is destroying our culture. It's bringing violence. It's bringing disproportionate violence from the immigration. It's destroying the British way of life. It's squeezing our resources. But it's also taking our tax money as well. It's stealing money from us, the taxpayer, to pay for them as well. So so all this bollocks about, oh yeah, multiculturalism is fantastic, whatever, they contribute to the economy, or that's all bollocks. And this now proves it, so it's got to end here, hasn't it?
This just proves it's financial bollocks, but it's been bollocks since day one. All that happened, I mean, the reason why we're carrying on with this, it's because certain people are making a fortune out of low wages. So if they didn't have all those immigrants and the government weren't topping up their wages for the employer, that's what these benefits are. As an employer, I don't pay you enough, but the government will top up your wages. Well, really, I should be paying you a living wage so you can afford to live here. That doesn't happen. And when you look at the controversy in the Labour Party, the millions, all the millionaires donating to them, why is some of them donating to the Labour Party and they donated to the Tory Party? Because they want more immigrants. Because that's how I run my business. That's why I'm a millionaire. Because I pay these people peanuts and the taxpayer picks up the rest of the bill.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a millionaire.
Somebody's subsidising my workforce,
the taxpayer,
basically.
the taxpayer's subsidising the workforce.
Yeah.
There was a story 15 years ago. Places like Tesco's were employing new members of staff, not just migrants, but local people as well. And when they got the job and were given the contract, they were given benefit forms by Tesco saying, and this is how you took your money out.
So it's kind of documented.
Yeah.
It's known. Yeah. I mean, what this says to me now, and I was quite shocked because I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this before.
I know the figures, but I knew all. I knew,
you kind of had an instinct that this was
I knew
the
by
case.
looking around, going, net migration is a drain on this country, and it'll be a drain financially. But now we've got the figures.
But now we've got the figures. This must now mean that multiculturalism has failed in this country. It's got to mean that, hasn't it?
Mass immigration has failed, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
multicultural has failed as well, but I think that's a different argument to make. But mass migration, yeah.
Yeah. So I when that information has come out, for me, it's kind of the final nail in the coffin about what's going on. But I also get the sense, and I don't know if you do, that people have started to talk about this now, that it's kind of now out in the open, that you don't get labelled a racist if you say mass immigration has failed, basically. But this now has got to be the definitive argument. And interestingly, I was out last night with a business colleague of ours from Dubai in Birmingham, and he started talking about, oh, look what's happening in Germany, they're like the Nazis. And I said, no, they're not. I said, they're not like the Nazis. Immigration has failed. The cost of an immigrant now is more, it's draining money from these people. These people in Germany are seeing it, that's why they're voting for it. And he actually went quiet because he'd never heard that before.
And he's from Dubai?
He's from Dubai.
I'd have said to him, no, wait a minute, you're from Dubai. You treat your immigrants like you're Nazis.
Yeah.
They're treated like third-class citizens.
Yeah. His workforce actually staying like kind of hostels. They're all from India. He goes over to India, and there's queues around the corner in India for people who want to come and work for him in Dubai. But when they get there, they're not paid very much money, and they're kind of not stored, but they stay in these like hostels where they're all in a bunk and share it or whatever. They save their money and send it back to India, basically. But he was saying, oh, the AfD are Nazis or whatever. I said, they're not Nazis. I said, what's happening here is the people in Germany have had enough. They've had enough of the crime. They've had enough of the reduction in the standard of living. They've had enough of the fact that now, these people are not contributing to the economy. And this is kind of the new one. But because he was a businessman, when I said about the contributing to the economy, that kind of just shut him up. And he I saw the realisation dawn in his eyes as we said it. So I think now people have woken up. I think they've woken up to immigration now. And this is the final, got to be the final nail in the coffin, hasn't it?
Well, it explodes the big myth that we need migrants. We need them.
Yeah.
But that just says we don't need them. In fact, they're killing us.
Yeah, they're killing us. They're taking our money, taking our tax money from us, and in addition to that, they're gobbling up all our resources as well.
Yeah, and they're making it easier for the government not to ensure that lazy British people are not working.
Yes, yeah.
Because if there was a staff shortage across this country, government would be making sure all those nearly 10 million people out of work, they'd be making sure they're getting back to work because we need this now.
Yeah.
At the moment, we don't need it because we've got immigrants doing the job.
Yeah.
Even though it's slowly killing us, nobody wants to do the hard work of changing this around.
But I think now nobody can argue about the solution, can they?
No.
And the solution is we have to stop this immigration. You argue for repatriation of immigrants. I kind of understand that. I just don't understand the logistics. But what they're doing in Sweden now, I think it's Sweden, they're paying 30,000 euros to the immigrants.
Hardly any have taken up on it.
Oh, really?
Hardly any. There's stuff online where they're speaking to immigrants in the street and they're saying, I don't like Sweden, and I've got no intentions of leaving. Not even 30,000 euros.
Really? Even though they don't like Sweden?
Yeah.
Why are they staying there?
Because it's a better country.
Because I suspect
if I take £30,000 to Mogadishu, I'm dead the next day. If you take £30,000 to the tribes north of Karachi, there's a very good chance you and your family will be dead the next day.
Yeah.
So why would you not take a load of money to a country like that?
I suspect what will happen is forced repatriation, where we're going to send you back, but to keep the elites and the liberals happy, we'll give you 30 grand anyway as we send you back.
I think forced repatriation is going to start. I just think this is the first step.
Yeah.
You can fluff it. We'll give you £30,000 to go. The next stage will be we're going to start deporting you, and we're going to take the costs out of your savings here. So that'll be a threat to people that you're going to be going, but you might as well go now on your own.
Before we start taking the savings,
but you've got an house.
And there's an argument there, because if they are net consumers of our tax money, we'll have it back.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah. Now, what's interesting is this information, this detail, is available in places in Europe already. So some places in Europe have been collecting this information in great detail. I understand that Denmark is one of the places that, and so Denmark I've already shown for years, and Denmark, by the way, are again shifting their migration policies or immigration policies. Denmark have shown for years that if you're from North Africa, the Middle East, Pakistan or Bangladesh, you are a net drain on the economy. If you're from India and China, you potentially contribute something. If you're from the West, you definitely contribute something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of definitive, this stuff now. It's kind of, this...
If you need migration for your economy, isn't that the model you go down? You start looking at stats going, these are the countries we take migrants from because they add so much more than these other migrants.
Yeah.
It's something like 50-60% of all migrants from Africa can't even read or write in their own language.
Yeah. Why are they being let in then?
Because
it's just like, here's a form filled in, I'll fill this in and I'm coming in, basically.
Yeah. Or some of them just come illegal. And once you're here...
I think these are legal migrants. This stats comes from 3.6 million visas that they've had, basically. So they've tracked these people.
Well, Germany have just given Kenya 100,000 visas.
Why?
They said they need skilled workers. We're going to get from Kenya.
Oh, really? Yeah. But they're going to be skilled workers, are they?
So they say.
Oh, I see. Oh, I don't know.
But again, let's say they are highly skilled in Kenya.
Yeah.
Let's say they are.
Yeah.
That just damages Kenya.
Yeah, it does do. Yeah.
You keep sucking the best out of countries, and that's why some of these countries around the world are shitholes.
Yeah.
You keep sucking the best people out of them.
That's a good point. There's a point about Wales I want to talk about later, which is relevant for that. Now, just before I move on to kind of Europe in more detail, one shocking thing about those numbers I told you about England, that doesn't include the cost of their dependents. So the information you've got there is just the people who've come over to work ostensibly. Their dependents.
So their spouse, their children, other relatives they bring over.
If they're claiming on...
Which they're all entitled to once you're here.
So what's staggering about that is it's likely that number is actually higher.
A lot higher.
It's actually higher. They're taking more from us than we think, basically. So that £1 to £1.60, at the moment, there's a net 60 pence per pound being taken It might be 80, might be, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's more than 60 pence, basically.
Do you remember the child benefit scandal from 10, 15 years ago?
No.
Under New Labour,
Too young.
we let the Romanians and Hungarians come because they joined the
Yeah.
EU, and like idiots we let them all in. What they were doing, and other people, Poles as well, and they were entitled to do it. Once you got here and you were working here, your children were entitled to a child benefit,
Yeah.
even if your children weren't here and never been here. So some of these people were claiming for 3, 4, 5, 6 children that were back in their homeland, who'd never been here, had no intentions coming here. We don't know if these children actually existed. Those countries, it's easy to get a birth certificate saying,
Yeah.
I've got 4 children.
In Romania, it's very easier.
All those countries, it's easy.
Because this chap from Dubai last night, he was telling me, if you want an EU passport, very easy to get it in Romania.
Exactly.
Because they have no history of, apparently, of births beyond a certain time. So you can say, oh yes, my great-great-grandfather was born in Romania, or whatever.
And the Romanians are making money out of it, knowing, well, no one's settling in Romania. So you might get your passport there, but you've not got 80,000 Nigerians all settling in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Not Rwanda, Romania.
Romania, yeah. So moving on to Europe, there was an interesting stat I saw which was about how net migration has been falling in the last year. Sweden, it's fallen by 60%. This might be the last 2 or 3 years rather than, but the principle's right. So Sweden net migration has fallen by 60%. We know that because we know that I think they're in net. It's net.
Their population is shrinking because they're not letting.
They're actually net emigrating now. Yeah. Germany by 55%, Austria by 52%, Denmark by 49%, but the UK by only 10%.
Yeah.
So we're seeing all the major European countries shifting towards net emigration dramatically. UK isn't.
Yeah, and that's because those countries are getting tougher and tougher and giving out less and less and less, and we're not.
Yeah.
So this is still the golden destination for
Yeah.
many, many immigrants. Plus the language as well, because most of them speak English. But the benefits there compared to other parts in Europe are amazing.
So why would it go down? It's staggering. We know that Keir Starmer went to see Giorgio Meloni. The reason he went, and I think we've said these numbers in the last episode, the EU has reduced what they call irregular. They call it irregular, don't they?
Illegal.
Illegal border crossing by 39%, and has reduced crossing from North Africa to Italy by 64%.
Yeah. How?
I don't know, because you questioned this last time, didn't you?
I mean, let's say it's true. I want to know how.
Large boats with machine guns?
Because I'll tell you now, if they'd have done it, we'd all know about it. It'd been in the news all the time.
Yeah.
I'm amazing, look at me, I'm a female Prime Minister in Italy, look what I've done, I'm fan. They probably don't know why it's dropping.
Yeah.
But they're taking credit for it.
So something else is happening,
I think
whether it's
something else is
internal
happening.
strife in Africa or something like that.
Something else must be happening.
Yeah. This year so far, guess how many immigrants we've had crossing on small boats? So this isn't legal immigration.
Yeah.
This is illegal immigration.
Just on the boats.
Just on the boats this year so far.
On average, it's somewhere between 50 and 70,000 a year. So I'd say at the moment, this year, 40.
25,000.
Oh, wow.
Might be less than last year though.
So that sounds like it's been going down for a year or two, I think. And yeah.
Of these, and we've all seen the pictures of the boats and these young men getting off. It's typically young men, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless the BBC's doing it and then they film a little old lady somewhere or whatever. But generally it's pictures, the real pictures we see are just boats full of young war-ready men, basically.
All smiling and happy and clapping and all on the phones telling the cousins, I'm on the boat, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get money and white horse, it's going to be great.
So apparently of these 25,000, 1 in 5 of them have claimed to be children.
Yeah.
That's so weird. So all these blokes are getting off the boats, ready, coming over here to lead their benefit-driven life.
But why
and 1 in
wouldn't
5
they?
of them are claiming.
Because you get treated better if you're a child.
Oh yeah.
So more money, better accommodation, you'd be looked after. Many years ago we could have stopped this, but no one had the bottle to do it. Dentists can look at your teeth and guess your age.
Yes.
There's X-rays you can do on your teeth and your jaws,
your
and
bones.
your
Yeah.
bones. And within a year or two you can,
Oh yeah.
very
Well,
close.
pathologists do it, don't they? When they do autopsies, they can tell exactly how old.
And they're dead bodies, so a live human body you think would be a lot easier. But every time they've wanted to do it, the far left, the woke, pink and fluffy have screamed, human rights, these children are already traumatised, and you want to do this to them, you evil man.
Yeah.
And so we let 19-year-old murderers in our state schools who are a danger to everybody, and then they end up stabbing someone outside school anyway.
Yeah.
Like the guy we talked about.
We gave an example of that last week, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Jenrick, who's a former, what was he when he was in the Tory? Was he the Foreign Secretary at some point? I don't know what his role was in there. He was, or was he the Home Office?
No, he didn't have a big job, from what I can remember.
He's currently trying to be the Conservative leader,
Yeah.
which I think is a waste of time, actually.
It's all a waste of time.
Yeah. But apparently what he said is it was well known to the security forces that dozens of the immigrants crossing on the small boats, they knew were known terrorists. And he's saying now there's dozens of them who have come over on the boats. So this is not speculation.
Yeah.
He was given information when he was the government that people that they'd identified coming over on the boats were known terrorists.
See, this gives me a string of questions now if I was speaking to him.
Yes.
You found out this years ago about this. What did you do about this? Why didn't you go to the press? Why weren't these people arrested? Why weren't these people interned on terrorism charges? Why weren't they deported? So he comes across like a huge coward who would rather allow his fellow citizens to be placed in danger than take the tough decisions because he got told this was true.
Yeah, but this is the game though, isn't it, Nick? The game here is we're all the same party. This wing of my party is now in power. So it's my job now to have a go at those guys for 5 years until we get back into power. So what I'll do is I'll mention things that I knew about when I was in power that they can deny or whatever it is for the next 5 years. This is just inter-party play for me.
But we need a decent reporter to hold him to account on this by not just saying, oh, this is true, and what are Labour going to do about it?
Yeah.
Someone should be saying to him, and what did you do about it?
Yeah.
Just like to those senior police officers and social workers, what did you do about it when 100,000 white girls were being gang raped over decades?
Yeah.
Don't tell me now it's going on, and you
Yeah.
had evidence it's going on. What did you do about it?
Yes.
And the answer is you did nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm holding you accountable.
Yeah.
Just makes me, when you have cowards like this, it just makes me angry.
Yeah, it is, but that cowardice is kind of
self-serving. It's all about personal convenience and climbing the greasy pole and everything. And I get politics is a career now, but I'll accept some of it, like some of the donations and backhanders, and I can accept some of that to a certain extent. But I can't accept our politicians putting us in danger and allowing these things to go on because it was convenient, because we're afraid, because we're worried about their career, because we're worried about the next election.
Yeah.
Those things, they're called cowards, they're called traitors.
Yeah. But and I understand why you're angry and I get it, but are you surprised? Because we've talked about this, haven't we? We've talked about how ineffectual the Tories were. We're now seeing how ineffectual Labour are. What he should have done, you're quite right, as soon as he found out, he said, we need to stop the boats tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because there are terrorists coming into this country who are a threat to this nation state of ours. But he didn't, and now he's whining about it because Labour are allowing it to carry on.
The Secret Service told me this terrorist's coming.
Yeah.
Well, you should have told us.
Yeah.
Who we're protecting here.
Yeah.
Should have told us.
Yeah, but they're bastards, Nick, aren't they?
They're all bastards.
They are
cowards,
bastards.
cowards and traitors.
And we go back to my point about this is the uni party. They're the same party. Whining, backstabbing each other now. They're slightly one of them's slightly out of power for a period of time. But I'm not surprised. I think what's useful there is the fact he's actually admitted it and made it public knowledge.
Well, he's done that because his point's scoring now.
Yeah.
He's got a hot potato. He's got a grenade. He's pulled a pin out and he's gone, there you go, Labour.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, you do know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you should have dealt with it years ago.
But even if he got back into power now, he wouldn't deal with it.
No.
Because he didn't deal with it at the time. Just talking about the uni party and the media who... Is your wire working?
Yeah.
So we've had that issue before, haven't we? I'm just with his arm.
It is.
I can see a signal. Just talking about the media, the uni party and their propaganda arm, which is the mainstream media. I have actually noticed that the media seems to be a little bit better. They're getting a little bit better at asking questions. I don't know if you've noticed this recently.
They are over this gifts and donor gate and all that, yeah.
For some reason they are actually, and I'm surprised because we always got a sense that they were biased towards Labour far more than they were biased. I mean, we know now that they actually work equally for both parties, but you do get the sense now that they are a bit more asking harder questions and maybe challenging a little bit more. And there's a few interviews I've seen on YouTube where it's actually a BBC reporter asking a hard question for a change. So something seems to be shifting there. I don't know if you're sensing that.
I am, but all politicians always say the media's biased. And they are biased. They're always biased against the ones that are in power. And that's their job to a certain extent. But this Donergate would be very hard for the press to ignore. First of all, it sells papers. It sells time on TV so you can watch advertisements. So they know this is something we're all angry about. And the hypocrisy of it all as well. But you're right, they are asking some serious questions and holding them to account. And these little politicians just grin. But we're not as bad as the Tories. Well, you might not be as bad as the Tories, but you said you were so much better. You said you weren't corrupt. You said there was going to be change. You said you were for the people. And within days of getting in power, you know, one MP got given 14 grand to hold a birthday party.
Oh yes, I heard about that. Yeah.
Another couple of MPs were given thousands of pounds of Taylor Swift tickets.
Yeah.
Thousands of pounds of clothes. Angela Rayner on TV said, she's accepted £1,000 worth of clothes, but it's not really my fault because I'm working class.
What?
Well, yeah, you're on 150 grand a year, love, and you've been a lot.
She didn't really say that, did she?
She did.
She said I'm working class.
Because I'm working class, so I need nice clothes. Basically,
she is grotesque.
She is, and it was like just excuse. None of them can see the issue.
Which is bizarre, isn't it?
You know, and some of them should turn around and say, do you know what? In hindsight, I never should have took this, should I? In hindsight, I get how this looks now.
Yeah.
I get it now. And if it happened again, I wouldn't take it. And I'm sorry to the public for me, taking it. I didn't mean it to look like this, but they're not. One guy was asked today with the Taylor Swift tickets, and he said, I worked so hard on the election campaign and missed my children. And when I got offered these, my kids said, they'd like to go. So it was really a treat for my children. And he was asked then, would you do it again? And he went, in the same circumstances, yes. It's like, you are just a money-grabbing idiot.
They're narcissists, aren't they?
Yes.
Well? They're just like, they can't see.
No.
They don't think anybody else works hard or deserves Taylor Swift tickets. Just them.
Not even got the political nous to lie and go, I never should have took it and I'd like to apologise to the people and I'll never do it. At least the sleaze and the Tories, at least you always got an apology off them for being sleazy.
True,
always got a sleazy apology. And we knew they were lying.
Yeah.
But these ones won't even lie.
They do have a brass neck. That's
I've done nothing wrong.
Yeah. And they don't seem to see they've done anything wrong. But this has actually been going on for a while because since 2019, Keir Starmer has received £107,000 of gifts. Yeah. Now that is a lot of gifts. That is 107 grand. I mean, that's for only 5 years. He's got that's over £20,000 a year. That's a lot of money.
It is.
That's what for that. 20 grand is somebody's year's salary in some cases.
Yeah. So again, this has all been abused again now. Gifts. So there's nothing wrong in an MP taking what would look like a gift, taking hospitality, because that happens in the business world, and it has to be registered. So when a multimillionaire takes you for lunch because he's opening a factory, you're trying to get him to open a factory here, well, that's absolutely fine. And then register it in the House of Commons book you do, so everyone can see it was open. I ain't got a problem with that. I ain't got a problem with you going to the theatre with the Russian ambassador to talk about the war. No, I ain't got a problem. Even if the Russians pay for it, I ain't got a problem for that. But when it comes down to, I'm going to buy your sunglasses for you, and I'm going to buy you a dress, that's just gone way off.
Yeah.
Way off.
Yeah.
What this should be. What this should be.
Yes.
Of course our politicians will take hospitality because the meat, and I'm sure there's a grey line there as well, which might be hard to define.
Yeah.
But when I'm buying you personal items and buying your wife clothes, let's say what this is. This is bribery.
Bribery, yeah. And you can understand, say somebody like Jim Ratcliffe has a box at United, yeah? So he obviously wants to court politicians and things like that. So he might say, come and watch a match with me at United. That to me is possibly acceptable because he's a businessman, a senior businessman in the country, blah, 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 whatever. But these guys are getting freebies where it's just, here's tickets for Taylor Swift. You'd not be going with anybody. Here you go for you and your kids do this. Yeah. Here's a dress for you. Here's a pair of sunglasses for you. This is nothing to do with politics or business. This is, you're right, this is plain bribery basically.
It's just plain bribery. And I'm not saying these people are getting anything in return, but it doesn't work like that. You don't say to a politician, here's $3,000 worth of Taylor Swift tickets. I want you to vote a certain way for $3,000.
Yeah.
But over time, you start liking that person.
Yeah.
You're on their side a bit more.
It becomes an obligation. Then.
And
it's harder to say no to them,
and you see him in a better light because you're friends with them. And when those tough decisions have to be made, your friendship with that person may make up 1% of your decision making, and 1% may just tip the balance, and then you don't pass that law now, do you?
Yeah, you're right. There's a few names for Keir and his missus, and I'll just read some out to you now, and maybe you can tell me where they've come from. So one of them is Sir Keir Free Gear. One of them is Lady Victoria Sponge. And another one, a new one recently, is No Beer Keir. So the last one, do you know why that's come about?
Yeah, it's got something to do with the nanny state, and they're looking at reducing the size of pints to 2/3 of a pint. They're going...
A schooner.
They're going to...
As we say in the posh bars.
They've got, I think, a 5-point plan to reduce smoking, to reduce obesity, to increase exercise, to reduce alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's this nanny state again that we're going to tell you how to live your life.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it.
Well, the beer thing is more sinister than that. They're looking at reducing hours, opening hours for pubs. So it's kind of all the things you can do now, all the things that needs to be fixed. We went through the stabbing figures last week, didn't we? Of all the, in virtually every London borough, there's over 200 stabbings a year. All the theft that's happening, all those issues, the crime, the knife crime, all that kind of stuff, unsolved thefts. But the thing they want to do is reduce the time that working people can spend in the pub.
Yeah.
It just seems insanity to me.
Now, the bit I'd like to clarify, because I've not read up on this, but I want to know, are they talking about pubs or are they talking about licensed premises?
Pubs.
Because there's an argument to make that we've allowed the nighttime economy, nightclubs, to be free reign. You can open a bar now in Manchester City Centre up to like 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning serving alcohol. So there may be an argument to look at that.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at pubs, hundreds are closing down every week across the country. They can't make any living.
Well, they're doing the smoking thing with them, aren't they? They want to do the smoking thing with them.
No smoking on pub premises, meaning outside in the beer garden. Part of you, if you wanted to be a little bit cynical, part of me would be saying, we don't want people getting together and socialising and talking about how crap we are. Pubs, people do that in pubs. A couple of pints, they start telling each other how crap the government is and how unhappy they are.
Might be.
Do we want people doing that in a pub?
Yeah.
No, well, let's get rid of pubs, shall we? Hitler closed down lots of theatres and stuff like that because he didn't want people getting together and having an opportunity to discuss stuff, especially politics.
I wonder how long it'd be before we compared Starmer to Hitler. I think the more when I hear about some of these things, and even today, him saying "bring home the sausages," I'm starting to almost get the impression it's like a group of sixth formers. You know, when you're young, you and I have been young. I know to look at us now, people won't realise that. We have been young. And when you're young and you're in, say, the sixth form common room or whatever, and somebody says, oh, people smoke, people are not very healthy in this country, are they? What should we do? And somebody goes, I know, why don't we put a tax on cigarettes? Or why don't we shorten pub drinking hours so people can't drink as much, so they won't put on weight? Yeah. It's almost like childlike, some of this stuff to me.
It's sixth form student union, as in I'm 16, 17 old now. Of course I know better than you.
Yeah.
Of course I know better than you.
I've come up with it. I've got an idea. So it's like go around the classroom almost. Who's got an idea of how we can, make people healthier? I know. Let's stop them smoking. Let's ban smoking. Great idea, Quentin. Anybody got another? Yes. Let's close pubs a bit, because I think people stay late in pubs. I've never been in a pub, miss, but I think it's almost like that. And maybe it is like that. Maybe they never have been in a pub. Maybe they have never actually got a friend or smoked with anybody. You know what I mean? It's
simple solutions to very complicated problems.
Exactly.
There's a problem with obesity, so we introduced a sugar tax.
Yes.
Did it work? No, it's not working. They did it in Mexico, and obesity increased.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I remember reading that. It's just, we have a problem. Today's a good example. Zombie knives.
Yes.
So we've got a problem with knife crime. Let's ban zombie knives and machetes over 8 inches.
Yeah.
Yes, we've solved it now. You get stabbed with a 7.5 inch zombie knife, you're dead.
Yes.
So what does 8 inches have to do with it? Carrying a knife in this country is already illegal.
Yeah.
The reason why knife crime got out of control from 2014 is because Theresa May dramatically reduced stop and search because she said it was racist.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of this epidemic of knife crime.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I heard something the other day, and again, it's that very simplistic thing, isn't it? Let's look at the stats. Oh, people are being killed by zombie knives or stabbed with zombie knives. Let's ban zombie knives. That'll sort it out. So apparently, in the Second World War, there were planes flying off to bombing raids and coming back, and the ones that came back, they saw that they had lots of bullets in the wings and in the fuselage, but not in the cockpit and not in the gunnery arm. So they thought, all right, so these planes are coming back, but they've got bullet holes, so we'll put armour over the wings and the body of the fuselage to protect them, so more will come back. What they failed to realise was...
all the bullets that went through the cockpit, that plane went down and died.
The ones that were coming back with the bullets where they were having were the areas that were safe. It was the other areas, because those planes weren't coming back. Yeah. And actually it was the other areas they had to protect, the cockpit or whatever. And it's kind of that simplistic analysis, not understanding the complexity of the situation. The reality about drinking and eating, a lot of that is driven by pressures at work, wanting to relax or whatever. People, they're not going to be dissuaded by you saying, right, we're going to close the pub and out. It's just going to piss them off, basically. It's far more complex.
Yeah. I would add on top of that, it's none of their business.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely none of their business what we do in our private life in this country, as long as we're not breaking the law. It's just not... Whoever gave them this permission to... I mean, not this government, I'm talking about the last 30 years.
Yeah.
It's not just this government, but who gave any of these governments permission to start doing this in our lives? Dictating how we live, what we do, what we eat, what we drink. I said this before, government should always offer advice. We know better, we've got scientists. Scientists at the moment are saying this. You've got the information now, up to you. For 40 years, scientists were telling us we need to eat more bread and cereal and less meat.
Yeah.
We've found out now it's the complete opposite. We need to eat a lot more meat and a lot less cereal and bread.
Yeah. Like they used to do before the Second World War.
Yeah.
There was a joke on Twitter I saw which kind of sums up where this ultimately will get to, and it's basically a new law. Anyone caught having more than 1 Greggs per week will be sentenced to life imprisonment. And that's where the heading is, isn't it? You know, Greg, if you eat a Greggs, it's not good for you. By the way, you're probably a right-wing working class bastard if you're eating a Greggs anyway. So anybody caught having more than 1 Greggs per week, I mean, it's a joke, but it's actually quite incisive, I thought.
Well, do you remember when George Osborne tried to put a tax on Greggs pasties?
Oh yes, I do remember that. Yeah. You're right. Just need to leave us alone. Let us make our own decisions about what we want to do. But their insane policies continue as well. Ed Miliband, I don't know if you heard, is spending 630 million quid on some sort of climate change idea.
But that's pennies. You know,
it's pennies.
It's
You're
pennies.
right.
It's pennies,
the billions.
Yeah, I thought it would be billions, not millions.
Yeah, whether that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Bell Ribeiro Abbey, have you heard of that? It's
No.
a Labour MP. So the Labour conference, he or she, I don't know if it's a man or a woman actually. So this is it. So they're not happy with the press coverage. You know what I was saying about the press? So this MP, Labour MP at Labour conference, has called on Labour to start to regulate the media. So this is
She's a socialist, of course she has.
This is like we've had some really bad press recently because our Prime Minister has been talking about bringing home the sausages. So we need to now regulate the media. So you get to the point of regulate the media. So if our dear leader did say, you need to bring home the sausages, we'd never see it.
No.
That's where they want to get.
Yeah. So what you'd have is you'd have all the live stuff on a 10-second delay. So he would make a mistake and you cut the feed because it hasn't been broadcast because of a 10-second delay. Quite a lot of TV stations already do that.
Yeah,
with phone
but that's fine. They're controlling their own environment.
Yeah, but that's in case you start swearing live and get into trouble. So you'd have that, and then they would use AI and edit out the sausages to hostages. But you can't have these people controlling the press. But it's their go-to reaction.
Yeah.
It isn't, do you know what, we just need to be better.
Yes.
Maybe we need to be more professional. Maybe we need to be better. Maybe we need to get better policies. Maybe we need some PR gurus to help us. And maybe we need... But no, it's go straight to, we need to control the press.
Yes. We've been having some... Yeah, not we just crap at this. We need to get a hell of a lot better. No, let's regulate the press so they can't expose us for how crap we are. David Lammy, he is just an imbecile.
Yeah.
He's so thick. I was reading about... He was on Mastermind. I don't know if you...
I saw that. He didn't get any questions right.
But apparently one of the questions like, who discovered penicillin?
Yeah.
Pierre and Marie who?
Yeah.
Now, even if you don't know it's Marie Curie...
Yeah.
You bloody well know it isn't Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
He said Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
And then another
and
question...
it's not them who discovered penicillin, that's Ian Fleming.
Yeah, what they discover?
Radium or something like
Yeah.
that. It was... Yeah. But anyway, I get your point.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Sorry, yes, because she's the one that died of radiation, wasn't she? So even I don't know the answer.
And then the worst question they asked him was, who came after Henry V?
That was...
And he went, Henry IV. I mean, if you don't know the answer, just add one onto it, and you've got a bit of a chance.
And then there was another question, which was, what blue cheese is made in such and such a place? And he said Red Leicester. So
I've not seen that one.
The answer is, of course, Stilton. Yeah. But it's like, what was it, Stilton? Yeah, but what blue cheese? Yeah. Red Leicester.
Red Leicester. And when I'm in power, everybody will say Red Leicester. I'll make sure the press...
Mind you, I didn't even know Marie Curie created radiation. Not created it.
Yeah, but you're not going to mastermind saying this.
But I wouldn't have said Marie Antoinette. I would have actually said Marie Curie because I knew. But so anyway, he's called the Azerbaijanis basically took over an area called ethnically cleansed an area called Nagorno-Karabakh, right. and he said he congratulated on the liberation of it basically, and created just chaos, and people were furious. The Armenians were furious who'd been cleansed or whatever. He just has got no idea what's going on, this guy, and he's putting his foot in his mouth all the time. It's just shocking that he's in charge. Angela Rayner, you probably know, stayed in a £2.5 million apartment in New York overlooking Times Square or Central Park. Yeah. And said it would have cost £1,400 or something. Yeah. And she had a mate with her as well. I mean, it's just... They're just so grubby, these people.
And she needs free clothes, because like I said before, she's working class.
She's working class, so because she's working class, she needs to stay in a £2.5 million apartment in New York, doesn't she? Who wouldn't, as a working class person? Rachel Reeves has now removed all pictures of men from the cabinet room in number 11 because she doesn't think... I don't know what her rationale is for that, but I don't know.
It's because I think she's the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer. And Labour want everyone to know that in Labour you can get, as a woman, you can get to the second position. You can't get to the top because I've never had a Labour Prime Minister, never had a Labour leader. Tories have had 3 female Prime Ministers. 2 2 of them are crap because they were women, because they were box-ticking DEI hires. But she now doesn't want paintings of men, painted by men, looking down upon her. This is just pure identity.
And this is what you're almost back to the sixth form college. Yeah, I'm the head girl. I'm not gonna have any pictures of men in my head girl office. It's almost childlike.
She should surround herself with pictures of people that inspire her.
Yeah.
That's what that's about.
People who have merit.
Yeah, people who inspire her, and then hopefully she may take a bit of their persona on.
By the way, I don't agree with you that the 2 women who were prime ministers were incompetent because they were women. They just were incompetent. We're talking about Theresa May and
Liz Truss.
Liz Truss.
They got the job because they were women.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But then why would I not think that?
Yeah.
Sadiq Khan, I think we talked about this a little bit. It's called for prisoners to be able to jump the housing queue. I don't know what's happened on that one lately, but that's...
Yeah, that's not a new idea. That's been around for 50, 60, 70 years. And the idea behind that, if you read this pink and fluffy university reports and stuff, it's about these criminals have been damaged by society, and we need to stop them being criminals. So we need to fix their lives. Housing's really important for most people to live. Of course it is. If we can make sure we get them housing, they won't be criminals anymore. Well, they are. There's a criminal in the house. It's that pink and fluffy socialist that we're all born empty vessels, or we're all born good, and if you turn bad it's because society did it to you.
And the actual answer is send the 10,500 foreign nationals in our prisons back to their countries, stick those prisoners back into prison, basically, where they belong. It's an easy answer, isn't it? It's not complicated.
No.
It doesn't upset world politics to do that, does it? But they won't do that for some bizarre reason.
I was at a probation conference 15 years ago, and they had someone speaking there. He was a career criminal, little weasel looking guy, and he was talking about how he's been a career criminal for 25 years, and what changed him being a career criminal. I mean, prolific, 300 houses a year he'd burgle.
Was this a sixth form careers day?
No. This was a probation about how we change criminals. And he basically said what changed him was the birth of his daughter. And one day, sat in a police cell, he was saying to himself, is this the life I want now? I've got a baby girl now, I'm responsible for her. That's personal responsibility taken over. That's what men should do. And that's what changed him. And he got a big round of applause, and I spoke after him. And I got on the stage and I went, it's nice that you're all clapping, but do you not understand that he just told you all? 25 years of you all working with him, achieved nothing. And when he had a child, he changed himself. You're just clapping because all these failed him. And silence in the room.
Brilliant.
Then I went into my talk then, which didn't go down well. I lost the room.
Yeah, well, I think if you start a speech by saying, "Oh, you lot here are crap," that's what you said, basically.
They just annoyed me. I just saw
you're
the
right.
room
You're
full
right.
of clapping seals, and I'm going,
yeah. But you're right, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
I've been a criminal for 25 years, nothing you guys have done made any difference.
Yeah.
What changed me was having a kid.
Yes.
Yeah. He should have just said that, you guys are crap based on that. So Sadiq Khan's calls that. This is quite an interesting one. Labour ministers have you heard about this? This is in the House of Commons, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Labour ministers have demanded more heaters in their offices because there's a bit of an early cold snap.
No, I've not. No, is this... Where have you read this?
It was in the Daily Mail, so it must be true.
Right.
It must be true. I'll find the article. I think I did send it to you.
Oh, I'm just making sure you've not been on Facebook.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a paper.
At least it's gone to a reputable source.
I tend to go from paper. With these stories, I'll take them from papers if I can. Yeah. I might see something saying this has happened, but then I'll follow it through to find the actual source. So that was in the paper.
Well, I find that exceptionally hard to believe that they would do that.
I'm pretty sure I'll send it to you.
They don't get it, do they?
They don't get it. I mean, that is just unbelievable, isn't it? You just keep your mouth shut, wouldn't you? You just keep your mouth shut and say, the popularity. So he's now, and again, this is in the papers, so it's accurate. He's currently less popular than Rishi Sunak at Rishi Sunak's worst point. So his popularity is now minus 26%.
Yes.
Rishi Sunak's worst was minus 25%, basically. So he started at 11, he's gone to minus 26. So he's nearly moved nearly 40 points.
In 70 days.
Yeah.
And it took the Tories 14 years to get there.
At a recent conference, not at the Labour Party, it may have been the Labour Party, he did something which kind of indicates things are bad, which is he actually said, I'm in control. I'm in control. I don't know if you heard that.
I think that was about his chief of staff, that grey woman, Sue Gray.
Yeah.
Has just got a pay rise, and she now earns £3,000 more than him. And when the press put that to him, he went, "Oh, I'm in charge." And a politician never says that.
I read something and I wanted to understand where it come from. So again, I go to source, and this is actually on the government website, on .gov, whatever. All the Prime Minister's speeches are on there, basically. And the phrase he used was a societal black hole. So this is where he's got to now. He's accusing you, Nick, of creating the mess. It's you who've created a societal black hole, basically. That's what he's doing. He's attacking us, the people, saying we've created a societal, whatever that means, black hole, basically, out there. But then, so I found the quote and I thought, all right, okay, I'm going to discuss that with Nick. But then I went back and started reading through the whole speech, and the guy, he is like a robot. He's almost like a non-human. So he's put here a mindless minority of thugs. He's talking about the so-called riots, which is bollocks, basically. First thing he says is we borrowed almost 5 billion more than the OBR expected in the last 3 months. Well, he's borrowed that 5 billion.
Someone's borrowed. I don't know who it was.
I don't believe it. Somebody's borrowed 5 billion.
I asked in the cabinet. No one knows who's borrowed it.
Then he's put a mindless minority of thugs who thought they could get away with causing chaos, smashing up communities. I don't know who these communities have smashed up. Are you aware of them? Terrifying minorities. The minorities presumably are all these Pakistanis out doing wheel spins around the car. Even trying to. This is where you realise he isn't human. Even trying to set fire to a building with human beings inside it.
Oh, human beings.
So he's describing human beings almost as like, I'm not one, but there were
human beings.
There were some human beings in there. Shouting race, right, people displaying swastika tattoos. I saw one person, one guy. Did you see it? He had
and how do you accuse him of displaying it? It was on his shoulder.
It was on his shoulder. He had his top off.
On. Yeah.
People displaying swastika. There was one image of that. There was one person that we saw with that on. Shouting racist slurs on our streets. Did you hear much of that? I don't think I heard much of that.
That was who the F is Allah.
Yeah, but that's not a racist slur.
No, someone got 2 years for it.
Nazi salutes at the cenotaph. We've had people climbing on the cenotaph during the BLM thing.
Trying to light it.
Trying to light it on fire. Yeah.
We've had the Free Palestine climbing all over those stuff as well.
Yeah, and under the pretense, and it is a pretense of legitimate protest. It was a legitimate process. It started as a legitimate process. And now they're learning that the crime has consequences.
He still hasn't addressed the underlying issue at all. There were criminals there, and the criminals do need dealing with. And those criminals have ruined it for the country for this time period now. All those criminals who caused problems, who threw bricks at the police and set fire to hotels, they've ruined it. Because if they'd handled it better, change would have come quicker. But they gave them a gold-plated excuse not to do anything. But the fact Keir Starmer still can't talk about the underlying issue, he should talk about the criminals and then go, but I understand. I understand that most people weren't like that, and most people have got real concerns over immigration. And we're going to look at that and we're going to tackle immigration. Immigration's come down 10% last year, and I'm going to carry that on, and I'm going to stop the boats. And he could have, and he'd win people over.
His popularity would be a completely different place now, wouldn't it, if he'd done that? If he'd actually just addressed it.
It'd have gone up a bit. But he doesn't. He just doubles down on.
Yeah.
You've all racist thugs.
You can't see it. You can't see it.
You can't see it.
And at the end of it, he says, and frankly, things will get worse just before they get better. I think this was just at the beginning, this speech, when we found out he'd had £107,000 of freebies. But again, this childlike approach of these people. So today there's a picture in the papers of him and his wife at a function, and she's wearing a 36 quid t-shirt. Have you seen this?
Primark dress.
Primark dress.
Oh no, whatever. It's from Primark.
It's a cheap.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you so stupid? You think we're so stupid that you've been wearing all these incredibly expensive designs, and then you think if you turn up in a cheap t-shirt, oh, it's okay. She's wearing a cheap. It's like, how thick do you think we really are? You know, it's, and that's why I'm saying this kind of this sixth form mentality they seem to have.
Who are his advisors?
I have no idea.
They've got teams of people around them, and they should be saying, no, this ain't gonna. This will play badly. This will play badly. Say this because this will get. But they don't seem to have any of those people around them. They can't. They're not even competent political liars.
When I saw that today, I thought, how thick do you think we are? How thick do you think the British people are that they'll fall for that stupid idea? It's just shocking. Talking about prisoners, political prisoners, I'll repeat as I always do every week, free David Burley, sentenced to 9 years for nothing. Free Keith Edwards, an 81-year-old, jailed for nothing. There was something which I saw, I'm not sure I've evidenced this, but I did see the video. Devon and Cornwall police tried to section Thomas Dunn, a 64-year-old, who'd made a Facebook post. So he'd made a Facebook post which was obviously undermining establishment rhetoric or whatever it might be. They couldn't arrest him for that, so they tried to actually section him. So this is now what they're doing. So it's like, we can't arrest you because you've actually done anything wrong. So what we'll do, we'll try and say you're insane and put you in a mental asylum. That's the latest. That's the latest tactic, Nick. They're using to get us now. It's like they're going to turn up here, right, Nick? You've not actually done anything that we can, but we're a bit worried about your mental state, so we're going to section you.
No.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. But those things have happened before.
But this is just a 64-year-old guy, a normal English guy who's not happy with what's going on. But because they can't tangibly arrest him for anything because he's not actually done anything illegal, it's like, we'll declare you insane, you right-wing thug, basically. That's what they're doing now.
How are we doing for time for this episode?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we've spent an hour on this one. I'll just finish on this one then. So, for our gentle viewers and everybody else, Tommy Robinson's Freedom March is on October the 26th in London. And on that one, we'll bring this episode to a close.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers. I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.